Hi everyone again. I wanted to share another dream that I had a while ago. This one was about Jesus rewriting and redeeming the stories of our lives. And so before I go into the dream, I'll tell you a background of my life. I came from a home where Jesus was taught and the Bible was believed. However, both of my parents became Christians in their adult lives, which meant that they brought into their marriage just a tremendous amount of pain and brokenness and baggage just from their own home life that they had been raised in. So I grew up in that kind of environment. I won't go into a lot of details, but I went through pretty much every abuse you can find in the book. In spite of all of that, God was extremely faithful, and He held me close through it all. I could feel His presence in the midst of those times, and amazingly enough, I never even rebelled. And I also remember times as a little girl where when I was by myself, I would just pray to God to please forgive those people that were hurting me, because I could tell even then that they were acting out of their own brokenness and pain, which I still think is His grace that I was even able to do that. Some people I know say they think God isn't real, but with my life, with what I've been through, I know for a fact that God is real and Jesus is who He says He is because of what He did with my life. So by all human reasoning, I totally should have gone into the same trends and patterns as what my parents did and their parents before them and their parents. However, in spite of those things, I ended up marrying a very strong Christian man. He comes from a great, healthy Christian home. We've been married for 10 years. We have 5 children at this point. And looking back on my life and what I grew up in, it almost seems like a completely different life. It seems so far removed from where I am now. Our home now is very active and healthy and happy and loud with 5 kids. One thing that we went through, we had 2 children right off the bat when we got married. We wanted to have a large family. So we were enjoying them a lot. We were like, let's go for a 3rd. So we tried getting pregnant again. However, we miscarried at 7 weeks. And this was a new experience for me. I had never gone through a miscarriage before, and neither had either of our mothers. And so I didn't know until I was miscarrying that a lot of women go through this, but I didn't know that before. So of course that's painful, losing a baby. And then we went through 6 very long months of trying again. And that was a new experience for me because our first 2 pregnancies, we had gotten pregnant right off the bat very easily. And if you've ever tried for a baby for 6 months feels like an eternity waiting month after month. So finally we got pregnant again. We were so happy. We went for a checkup. Everything looked good. So we felt like, okay, we're in the clear. However, at about 11 weeks, I went in for a routine checkup and they could not find a heartbeat of the baby. And I remember going to my car, screaming when I got into the car. I was so heartbroken, I couldn't believe God was making me go through this again. And at that point, that's when I entered one of the darkest and hardest periods of my life. Even with everything I went through as a child, for whatever reason, it still didn't feel as hard as going through this. And I think it was because at this point, I was just questioning why was I going through this? Why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to go through everything that I had gone through in my whole life? And did God love me? What kind of God was he to have me go through this? All of those really hard questions. I feel like I came out of that so much stronger than when I went in. I already had a firm grip of what my faith was, I felt like, but this brought it to a whole new level. And it's easy to think that faith in God guarantees that you're going to have a pain-free life, nothing hard's going to happen to you, but that's not what faith is. Faith is believing that God is who he says he is, even when you can't see it. And it's believing that you are who he says that you are, even when you can't see it or you can't feel it. And if you belong to God, he says you are his son and you are his daughter and you belong to him. And he sees what's going on and knows what's going on. He's walking with you through it. You mean a lot to him. During that time, I asked for tangible proof that he was with me. I just pleaded with him, just show me that you know what's going on and that you care. And at this time I had one of the most crazy experiences of my life where I actually heard him call my name, like with my own ears. I had gone upstairs for something. I was lowering the blinds and I heard a voice behind me, like it was coming from the doorway of the room. And I turned around and there is no one there. And trying to describe the voice is very hard to describe, but it was a masculine, a male voice, but it sounded like it was multiple voices in one. And it sounded musical. It sounded almost like rushing waters at the same time, but still very much a human voice. It's hard to describe, but it totally freaked me out because I turned around, there was no one there. It's a voice unlike anything I'd ever heard. And I actually was so scared. I felt like I was going to faint and throw up or something like that on the spot. And so I had my proof and I knew, okay, God, I asked for tangible proof and there it was. And more months went by and I felt like what he said to me in the midst of all of that was, even if I don't give you what I want, which was more children, are you going to love me and are you going to trust me anyways? Now, it's such a hard question. It's not a question I wanted to have to answer. I wrestled with it for a while and eventually I went back to him and I said, God, I want to and I will, and if you help me, I will, but that's the only way I know how to trust you with something that's so dear to me, but I will if you help me. And it was a couple more months and we did end up getting pregnant again. We actually had 2 more children, for a total of 4. And because we are totally crazy and like a lot of kids, we decided let's go for 1 more, so for a total of 5. So it was during this time where I had the dream. And so the dream was, I saw myself laying down. I was covered in this black ink scroll that looked very nasty and evil and dark. It scrolled all over my body. And I understood it to be words that had been spoken over me when I was growing up that were not true. Like, they were lies, they were evil. These were experiences that I had had that were hurtful. These were lies that I believed about myself. And these were also like habit patterns, thought patterns that I had developed because of those hard things. I saw next to me Jesus, and he was sitting down. He was sitting down next to me, and he was writing over all of those ugly black scroll words. He was writing in red the truth. He was writing who I was in him, the true things about me. He was writing over, he was rewriting my life, writing over the lies, and he was rewriting life and hope and truth back into my life. And the look on his face was so precious to me. I could see his face, and he just had this very intense gaze as he was very focused on what he was doing, but there was also a tenderness and like a joy in his eyes. Like, this is what I love doing. I love transforming lives from brokenness into beauty. And his face was so full of love. So there's all those things in one, and it was a very short clip of a dream, but when I woke up, I just felt so much love and joy from that. And I just said, thank you, Lord. Thank you that you are rewriting my life. So again, we were trying to get pregnant again, and I did in November of 2013. However, 2 months later, January 2014, we found out, unfortunately, that we were miscarrying again. So again, if you've ever gone through that, you know how hard and painful it is. But I will say this miscarriage is the last one that I had. It was an incredible experience, and I say that in that even though it was painful losing a baby, I never once doubted his love. I never once doubted his plans. I trusted him completely with it. And even in my pain, I didn't want to pull away from him. I knew that pressing into him was going to be the source of my healing and my hope and my joy. And I didn't understand why I was going through this again, but I trusted him with it anyways. And seeing that newness in my response was an incredible thing to watch, because I had gone through it before, and it was a very difficult thing. And to go through it again and know that what had once taken me so far under had no hold on me at all, and that instead I was walking in complete victory and feeling and healing and faith in spite of all of that was truly amazing to see. And I remembered that dream that I had had of the Lord rewriting me, and I was like, that was the part that you have, Lord. You've rewritten that part of me, because I went through it before and it was ugly, and I went through it again, and it was an amazing redemptive experience. I will add on the very end of that story that he is faithful. He gave us another baby, and the amazing thing is, in January 2014, when I went into the hospital, because I knew I was miscarrying, and they checked everything out, and they said, yes, you are. So exactly 1 year later to the day, in January of 2015, I left the hospital again, but this time I was carrying a little baby boy, beautiful and healthy, an amazing addition to our family. We are so thankful the Lord gave him to us. And I just want to encourage you, in this life, there are so many things that happen. Everyone has their own story. of things that they've had to walk through and go through. And I think some of us won't have answers on this side of heaven. We just won't. But God knows what He's doing. And even things that are meant to be used as evil against us, God is so great and so powerful that He overcomes all of those things and redeems them. One way or another, He knows how to take your ashes and turn them into beauty. And He has the power and the desire to rewrite your life from all the brokenness and make something truly beautiful and miraculous from it. I just wanted to encourage you with that.